Action.
What's up, guys? It's your boy 4K Pharaoh here again, and a few people have been hitting me up for, a few questions on YouTube and Instagram. So I'm just gonna be doing a quick Q&A.
So, Pharaoh, who are the people that inspire you on social media currently and from the past?
Currently, it's this guy named TSM Daquan. He doesn't stream anymore, but he used to be a real inspiration. He used to play Fortnite. I used to play Fortnite like 2 years ago, but he used to be a really big inspiration. Everybody loved him, and he was a good inspiration. Who else? Ninja. He was a good Fortnite streamer too. I was into Fortnite a lot a few years ago, and it kind of kick-started me into wanting to get into gaming, but definitely Ninja. One of my friends on Twitch, his name was King Wong. He was a pretty good streamer. He used to play this game called Jump Force. It's an anime battle game. But I used to watch him all the time, and I would ask him like, "Bro, what got you into the gaming?" And he would just be like, entertainment, bro, just doing what you love. I was like, "You inspired me." He was like, "Thank you, bro. Just do what you love." So it really just inspired me to go into gaming and do what I love.
What are some of your hobbies?
So my hobbies, most of my hobbies, I do chores around the house. That's a traditional thing. You do chores around the house, but I also go on Discord with my cousins. We play Roblox sometimes. It's a pretty fun time. I play with my brother too. I usually work out around 6 a.m. in the morning. So really just trying to get fit, and yeah.
What are some things that interest you in your academics at school?
Something that interests me in my academics at school is my audio visuals class. It's a editing software and like editing class. We learn how to do green screens and edit certain videos, take the clips, put them together, stuff like that. So I like doing that too. And as a YouTuber, I'm going to become. You're going to have to know those fundamentals on how to put clips together and just add effects, titles, videos, stuff like that. And yeah.
Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I probably see myself 5 years. I probably feel like I'm gonna be a big streamer. A lot of people are gonna know my name. 10 years, I'm probably still gonna be streaming, but more popular games, stuff like that. Just keep it on the low, and just live life to my fullest.
We heard that you have a current business with your brother. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, so the current business with my brother is Brooks Brothers Books. We sell books online and in person. You can check us out at brooksbrothersbooks.com. And me and him just, sell books, young entrepreneurs coming into the game and doing what we love too.
Any people that you would like to give a special shout out to?
I like to give a special shout out to my mom and dad. I love both of them. My dad, he really got me kick-started into gaming. It would be late nights. I'd play games with him, stuff like that. And my mom, I love her to death. She's just one of the happiest parts of my life. She supports me so much. Everything she does is for us. And I just love her with all of my soul and heart. Shout out to my brother too, Sire Brooks. He's a pretty fun guy. He's my little brother, and we play video games all the time. He's just a fun, energetic dude.
All right. Anything else that you would like to share or we should know about you as you put out more content?
I just want you guys to know I'm not doing it for the fame, not for the money, just entertainment purposes. And if you're trying to do anything in life, like anything is possible, just make sure you're dedicated to it. You put your mind to it. You're devoted to it. You spend hours on it. You look up videos on it, tutorials. You connect with people. Just make sure you're doing everything to your fullest to pursue what your passion is, and just make sure you do what you love. Don't let anybody back you down.
Okay, sign off.
All right, so 4K Pharaoh logging out. See you guys in the next video.
Action.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, The Pharaoh. Today, I'm back here with another video, And today I'm kind of just introducing myself because I'm gonna be putting out new content. I have been putting out content before, but I'm gonna start brand new and start all the way over. 12 years old. Finna be the next best thing. Finna put gaming content out, YouTube content, coding content, whatever you guys ask me to. I'm not doing it for the fame, not doing it for the money, just entertainment. So my mother's gonna also be asking me questions just to get it into. So let's get right into it.
All right, so Pharaoh, with you going into putting out new content, what sparked your interest to want to put out content in the first place?
I just see people on social media, online, gaming and doing what they love. And a lot of the streamers and people I watch on YouTube and stuff, they don't do it for the money or for the fame. They just do it because they love it. And I used to be friends with this guy on Twitch. He used to be a small streamer. It was only there when he had like 15 subscribers. Looking at him now, he has about 15,000 now. So he's doing pretty well, and it's just, a lot of people inspired me because, I love gaming and I do it for a living, but gaming is just like a good part of my life. I was raised with gaming. My mom's a good person. She raised me with gaming too. She wasn't the type of mom to do, just throw games at me, but it was just a good time.
Okay, cut. Action.
And you guys can reach me on Instagram at 4K.
Action.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, The Pharaoh, and I'm gonna be putting out, new content on YouTube and IG. And
action.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, 4K Pharaoh here, and today I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm gonna be putting out new content on YouTube and IG. You can follow me on both platforms at 4K_Pharaoh. 4K_PHAROAH, and just enjoy the experience.
Tell them to pause. I'm sorry.
Action.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, The Pharaoh here, back with another video. And today is just kind of an introduction to me and the content I'm going to be putting out on YouTube and TikTok. My name is Pharaoh Brooks. I'm 12 years old, born December 2nd, 2008. Just coming here to put gaming content out, to put coding content out, just to put out, modern day content and good content. Not doing it for the fame, not doing it for the money, just for entertainment. Here we go. But today, me and my mom's gonna be asking me a few questions just to get it kicked off and started. So yeah.
All right, so Pharaoh, what
Hold on.
are...
Break. You gotta be mic'd if you're gonna. Action.
Hello guys, Locha Brooks here. Guys, I am super excited. Today I am bringing to you a special feature for our Edupreneur series. Today we have Roderick Rose here. Mr. Rose is an educator. He's also a real estate agent. So we're gonna dive in and explore. Is that good? I don't know how much you want me, because I was gonna keep going.
Oh yeah, you could have. Okay, let me start it. Restart it.
And if it sounds good, then we just gonna roll the whole thing.
Bet.
All right.
It does sound real good. Say something, Mr. Rowe.
Can you hear me testing?
Very good.
I need to get the question. We just gonna roll.
Do you like being on camera? I know I don't.
You like, you okay with the camera? Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. I'm
You
good with the
good?
camera.
Oh, man.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
2-second pause and then start. And action.
Hello, guys. Locha Brooks here. Guys, I'm super excited to be bringing to you our Edupreneur series. Today, we have Mr. Roderick Rose here. He's an educator as well as a real estate agent. Today, we'll be diving deep into what it is like to be an educator and to also be an edupreneur. So, without further ado, Mr. Rose, thank you for coming. I truly appreciate you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, just if we can talk about what it is like to really be an educator and to also be an entrepreneur. How did you decide this track? What made you explore even opportunities outside of the classroom? How did we get here to you being an educator as well as a real estate agent?
Okay, cool. So the journey is kind of interesting. It's actually a little bit flipped in basically what you said. I started as a realtor. I started as a realtor prior to entering education. But while I was starting up, I had decided, hey, let me be a substitute teacher and see how that goes. And so I started subbing, and I went one day and I said, okay. And I went back and I said, I think I can do this. So let me just kind of explore the opportunity and see, what could come from it. And here we are today.
Okay. Well, that's also interesting because I think when I originally went into teaching, I started off subbing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was subbing while I was going to undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
I also had my own business. I actually had a store downtown St. Louis, beautiful children's store, and then I changed my major to education. I was straight English. I just thought I was going to be a writer and really have my business to focus on. So that's also interesting because you can have a balance, you can have a business, and you can be an educator.
For sure.
So it's just really balancing the two. And so I think for me, ultimately leaving the classroom was a decision I made because I wanted to further my reach in education.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I stepped away from education.
Right.
I think it transcended past just being in the classroom.
Because the thing about being an educator, it's like a matter of the part. So once you do it, you're an educator forever.
For life.
Yeah.
So it's really just sharing your passion, but kind of in a different way. Because how can you talk about that? Do you think that your career or real estate, realtor business, does that in some way shape your classroom conversations, what you instill in your students? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely. Matter of fact, I know 100% it does because that was one of the things that from the onset of having an interest in education, I thought that hey, I can bring this real world experience into my classroom. And not only that, even if you never had the desire to become a real estate agent or even do anything in real estate in general, we all have to have somewhere to live. And so a lot of the basic things that I experience and learn and even teach to my clients, I try to implement that in my classroom because that's basic, that's basic survival skills. You gotta know how to rent, mortgages, and all those kind of things. So I think that's important, and I always do try to bring some component of that into my daily lesson.
Okay. I know for me as well, I always show my students that the importance of having multiple streams too.
Mm-hmm.
So being an educator, that's one stream, and it's almost like it's a glass ceiling too.
Yeah.
As far as the income.
You definitely are. What I feel that you are limited. You're limited to a certain box as a classroom teacher. There are different things that you can pursue outside of the classroom, but for me, the joy of the job is being on the front lines with my students. I just can never see myself being the principal behind the desk all day. Like I want to be with the kids, and so I feel like being there with those kids is the most rewarding part, but at the same time, having a life and families that you got to take care of. You are limited, and so for somebody who wants more and wants growth, you search for opportunities outside of the classroom.
And so it's possible to balance the two.
And balance is the key. Balance is the key thing that you said. I think it's very. You can definitely have two careers. I tell that to my kids all the time because I teach investigating careers. And so I always try to tell them, hey, look at me, look at Mr. Rhodes. Y'all know I sell houses. You see me do it every day. I'm here with y'all, and when they ask me what you gonna do after school today, and I'm like, I'm going to go show houses. Yeah. So I think balance is the key to it, and balance and time management and being organized. I think as long as you can kind of lock down those principles of being organized and have that balance, and the two can coexist easily.
Certainly. So, I think.
You want to pause it? Let's pause it.
Actually, I want to review it.
Okay. So, were there any components or variables that helped you all alleviate the stress of some of these families during this time?
Yes, absolutely. A big component was that our community really came together. We had about 10 churches form a committee where they would get food donated and actually go deliver it to the families and our students that did not have transportation and were low or did not have food at all. And that really allowed our students and families where they lacked in food, nutrition, to be able to supplement, because a lot of our families were out of work, and that allowed them to, put their money elsewhere.
Oh, so that's awesome. So on top of the things, the district initiatives, you also had community organizations and churches rallying together.
Yes, we definitely couldn't do it without them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Thank you guys again.
Action.
Hello, guys. Locha Brooks here. Thank you guys for joining us. This is a follow-up to what it was like to be in an educational setting during the pandemic. So today we are here with school social worker Shara Thompson. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So Shara has been in the educational field as a social worker for 9 years. And so what I wanted to ask Shara today was to give us a little information on what it was like to actually be in an educational setting during this historical time of teaching and learning.
Yes. Well, as you all know, we've all experienced it together. The pandemic has allowed us to go through many changes as a collective, and in particular, the education field, we've seen numerous changes. Mainly, I would say the number one will be technology. I would consider that to be number one. And what I mean by technology is that we see that many people do not have access where we would assume that everybody does. So having the ability to access technology, whether that's the Chromebooks, the actual internet, the software, all of those things. I work with a lot of hotel motel families, and many of them do not have access to the internet at all. So that set them back even further than their peers who automatically have internet as if they have electricity in their homes.
Okay, so with it, what type of accommodations were made for these students? Was it easy to navigate that, or was this totally uncharted? How was that?
It was definitely unexpected. I believe that many school districts just assumed that their students had access to internet. And so we had to kind of scramble to make sure that many of our students had hotspots and good technology, laptops and things of that nature, because learning was online. And if they didn't have the tools, then they wouldn't be able to learn.
Okay. So as far as engagement, did you see numbers of those students who did not have housing? Did you see their numbers decrease as far as like participation, engagement, or any type of activity at all? How did that look?
I would say the engagement decreased, and that is because the school is relied upon for, I would say, the majority of the day. That's where kids spend their most time at. Monday through Friday, half the day is there. And so if they're at home, who is really holding them accountable to get their work done and things like that? So, a lot of our parents are working parents. Most of the United States are working class citizens. So the parents were not able to be home, and the kids many of them would have to, self-instruct and make sure that they got their assignments in on time. And that will be a lot of elementary students that we were wanting to do that. And based on their age, I'm not sure that they had the ability to do so on their own.
So from on the outside of the classroom looking in, because I know you still, even though you work with these particular families, but being in the education building, being inside of the building, what do you think can certainly be learned overall from this historic time?
I would say that it definitely takes a village. We know that the school, the education community is a village in itself, but really everybody coming together to do their part and make sure that education is first and foremost. And however we're going to do that, whether it's counseling, social workers, teachers, the cafeteria managers, the crossing guards, everybody, it takes a village, and we all need each other to make sure that our students are successful.
It definitely takes a village. So moving forward, I always like to talk about the good things as well. So what changes have you seen being made that is definitely going to enhance the whole educational process or the experience that was onset because of the pandemic?
Yes, this past school year, we really tapped into mental health with our students, making sure that they were just ready to go mentally. It's not always physically being in the building because many times we were not able to see them. So just checking in on their well-being, that was a really big part of this school year, making sure that, they knew that we were there for them no matter what. For example, if we were not able to see them, if they were virtual, we would send home connection kits, which would have stress balls, coloring books, different things like that we could just knock on the door and, from a distance, give that to them to make sure that they were always connected. So, we really were focused on mental health and well-being this year.
Okay, that's awesome to know, especially to know that you all actually got out there. Yes. And were being proactive in a sense, even though it's in response to the pandemic, but just still making sure that they keep up with their mental health and doing some things to increase finding an outlet of being sane. So that's awesome to know that your district took the initiatives to do that. Yes. I thank you so much for sharing your experience. I know there are a lot of other educators out there that were tasked with similar responsibilities of working with those families in those challenging circumstances. And again, I always just salute you for the things that you do, because that social workers really are behind the scenes, but we have a lot of students that are present in our buildings. What is the percentage? Can you give us that, at least for this area or the school that you work in, of students who are in transition, who may be staying in hotels and motels? What does that percentage look like?
Well, in the district that I work in, we're number 4 in the state of families in transition. So I would say it's about 30% of our entire district. And in transition, that could mean, you're doubled up with family or friends due to economic issues, living in a hotel, motel, and or shelters. So it's a plethora of living situations that would have them consider as families in transition.
So that's almost like 1 in every 4, 1 in every 3
yes.
almost.
Yes.
Wow. So there's a large student population. So they just face some interesting things going through this historic time. So again, know there are similar people out there or educators out there who experience this, and just to be able to talk about it and know that you are not alone in your journey. And we appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much, Shara, for joining us for the conversation. We appreciate that.
Thank you. I always forget to say things.
And action.
Hello, Locha here, live from Harpo. I'm just... All right. Hello, Locha here. Guys, we have another amazing entrepreneur here today, Miss Shara Thompson. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So listen, y'all, you already know we are going to get all up into Shara's business. We want to see how it is that she's an educator as well as an entrepreneur, and how she balances the two, how she got here, and just find out a little more about what she does in the education world and how that might also transpire to her being an entrepreneur. So Shar, give us a little bit about you. Like, what is it that you do? What are you interested in? Let's know what's going on.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. My name is Shara Thompson, and I am a licensed master social worker here in the state of Texas. And currently, I'm a school social worker in a local school district, and I work primarily with homeless students and families, mainly elementary level. And I'm currently pursuing my clinical license in social work.
Okay, so that's big. First of all, I salute you. Okay,
Thank you.
because a lot of people don't know, but social workers really kind of carry the students, especially like behind the scenes. So I
Yes.
appreciate you for your service.
Thank you.
I truly do. So how does your career as a social worker, how does that kind of align with you pursuing entrepreneurship opportunities? What does that look like for you?
Well, as a social worker, we have lots of training all of the time. My supervisor, she constantly gives us opportunities for continuing education in the district and outside as well. So what I notice is I'm pretty much a lifelong learner, and I would like to contribute what I learned to the greater community. And so what I'm doing right now is pursuing my clinical license with an emphasis on play therapy, because I felt like, during the pandemic, I seen a lot of cases where our students were suffering through depression, anxiety, just the whole spectrum of mental health issues. And I would like to further explore opportunities outside of, my regular work role.
Okay, so it's not like you're totally leaving the profession of being in the educational setting or being around even kids necessarily, but just expanding your reach with pursuing your licensing and pursuing the play therapy.
Yes, that's correct. And like you said, it's just expansion. And I feel like me getting my degree in social work, that was just the foundation, and it's only up from here. So the more that I could do, the more that I could bring to our kids and the community, I want to continue to do that.
Okay, so as far as being an edupreneur, how did you go about seeking out the time or the opportunities or balancing your work career as a social worker and then seeking out an opportunity to pursue the route of play therapy? Because is it you want to have your own play therapy center, or how can you give us a little more about that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's definitely a work, life, time, everything balance. And what I had to do was take a look at my schedule to see where I could fit those hours in, and they just mesh so well. I feel like it's divine timing, and I'm able to really explore other opportunities and continue that outside of my regular work role, and just keep that going. And absolutely, I would like to pursue having my own private practice, and it just everything flows. If I'm able to continue my internship hours after work hours, that's when my private practice will be as well. So it's practice on the front and the back end as well.
I like that. That's so encouraging, because I think a lot of times when we talk about entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs, some people get the idea that people are completely leaving the school setting, right? And it's you don't have to, and you can actually, I think, have a greater impact on, your babies that you're serving, your schools that you're serving, the district, whatever your respective position is in, by pursuing your passion. And by you wanting to pursue play therapy, I can only see that adding to the programs that you already implement in your current position. So I think that's phenomenal.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a great experience, and I make sure that I always let my supervisor know at the beginning of each school year to make me uncomfortable. And so she pushes me. She's always asking me what more do I want to do each year, and every year I'm adding on layers, and it's been wonderful, and it's allowed me to meet you as well. So.
Oh, yes. I'm excited. I mean, first of all, the communication that you have with your supervisor, that's awesome. And I think when pursuing opportunities outside of the school building, you always want to let other people know. Some people do things in secrecy, if that's the route that you want to go. But I found my success with also being transparent. When I was starting the consulting firm, I let my principal know that I had a desire to move forward with my consulting firm. I even looped in my principal to do a photo shoot that I had scheduled for my promotional material for my consulting firm. So in total transparency, letting them know what it is that I had going on, and still giving 100% in a position that I was serving in at that current time. And I think, some people think that you have to slack in one area, and you don't. It's be fully confident that you can execute in both, and then just pursuing it, so, and finding that time to balance. So, what would you say to those educators out there who are looking to pursue opportunities in entrepreneurship or outside of their current roles inside of the school building? What suggestions would you give them?
A couple of suggestions. First and foremost, I would say know what you're interested in. That way you have a plan, or where to, start your footsteps. Because without having a plan, you're just really running wild, running all over the place with no direction. So I would say have at least an interest in what you would like to continue pursuing as an entrepreneur. Second, I would say have a mentor, maybe multiple mentors. So okay, I know I can go to this lady or I can go to that guy because they've been there and they've done that. And they can also help guide your footsteps as well. And lastly, I would just say make sure that you're confident in yourself, because there are going to be forces against you, and you can even be a force against yourself at times. So I would just say continue to be confident, work on yourself in the meantime too.
Oh, those are gems, especially, knowing what it is that you are interested in. Sometimes people just want to hop off into something else for the money, and I'm going to tell you, if you're walking in your purpose, your true calling, the money is going to come. And I tell people this all the time, and I don't know how it sounds, but I've never worried about money. It's never been an issue. I've just always done what it is that I know that I love to do. And I know that the money comes with it, right? And so making sure that you know what it is that you love to do, and then having a mentor, somebody that you can talk to. Because doing it alone, it's okay to kind of stumble through the woods, but if you have those right people to talk to, if you don't have them, seek them out. A lot of people that I go back to, some of my old educators, and at first I didn't really coin them as my mentor. Yeah. It was just somebody to talk to, but you need mentors, people that can guide you. And then also, if you have to pay for mentorship, a lot of people have paid to go to school. They paid to be the expert in their field. And when you're consuming their time, you want to make sure that you are taking care of them and pouring into them as well. So for me, what that also looks like, my mentors, oh my gosh, it's the trajectory of my business, and having my mentors actually work for first class educator. It's rewarding to be able to pay them, and to be able to pay them nicely. And I know that they're not concerned about the money too, but it's almost like giving back full circle. Yeah. So being able to provide my mentors with opportunities to have an even greater reach in their capacity. So I really like that you spoke to that, and being confident. Right? It's hard to pursue something and you kind of shaky on it. You step with full conviction that you are able to do it and pursue it and execute. So I thank you for coming to us today. Is there anything else, like before we leave, anything else that you would just like to say as far as encouragement?
I would say, again, those 3 steps, those are very important. Make sure that you have a direct interest, have a mentor, and confidence. Self-care is very important.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you'd like to get in touch with Shar, I'll make sure that her contact information is available, because I know that Play Therapy Center is going to be amazing. It's going to be totally amazing. So we'll make sure that you're able to get in touch with Shar and follow her on all her handles. Thank you again, guys. We appreciate you for tuning in.
Action.
Hello, guys. Today we are here with Miss Long, and Miss Long had a few questions for me after recording, so we did just want to give you guys a little bit of our conversation.
So I know I came here for you to interview me, but I just have to ask you, like, what made you move into the consulting firm, or moving into? Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm just really curious, what made you leave the classroom and start your own consulting firm?
Okay, so good question. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know. So really, honestly, if we can be very super transparent, I knew right away that I was not doing 30 years in the classroom. Like, I knew that. I love education. I really love it. And then what I also found with being in the classroom, I had a lot of seasoned teachers coming to me and asking if they could use my lesson plans. Now, nothing is wrong with it at all. I love sharing, right? But I'm thinking, you know, I'm getting paid like literally half of what some of these educators are getting paid. They had their PhD and things like that. And I have some awesome lesson plans. They're utilizing my lesson plans. So they pushed me to go and get my master's. And so I got my master's in education administration, because I figure, hey, you know, I can move up, have a greater reach being a principal. And then while I was in grad school, I realized, you know what? I have so many educators that really look to me and ask me, you know, my opinion. And I'm like, I don't think it would be a bad idea to start an educational consulting firm. And I knew then, like, my reach would be even greater as far as the effect that I could have, because even as a principal, you know, you're only limited to doing so much, you know, for a school building. And so the way I started First Class Educator was actually just wanting to expand my reach, as far as, you know, utilizing my expertise, my gifts, building relationships, helping other educators do the same thing. So that's really how I started First Class Educator. And I love it. It's my passion. And I'm still in education. So it's not like I totally just left the classroom or left the school building to pursue being an entrepreneur. I'm pursuing my passion and my reach with education, and First Class Educator is going to be a household name for sure, as far as professional development, staff development. So thank you so much for asking. I appreciate that.
Oh, I love it. I mean, you just saw the bigger picture. I know it's super hard to just leave the classroom because you want to be around the children, but you see the bigger picture, because you're right. You can reach more. That means you're reaching more teachers and ultimately reaching more students. So I love it.
Thank you. And I love my babies. All of my students know Miss Brooks loves y'all. And I stay in contact with my students. I've had some students all the way from 6th grade. I got to watch them graduate from high school as I transitioned from the middle school to teaching at the high school. And so that was so rewarding. Many of them are about to graduate college now. So it's just, education is a rewarding field, and I love all things in regards to it. So again, thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you for answering.
Action.
Hey guys, Locha Brooks here. Guys, super excited to be coming back to you with one of our Edupreneur series here with Miss Long. Miss Donna Long is joining us. She's an educator as well as an entrepreneur. So today we're just gonna have a discussion, just talking about how you can balance being an educator and an entrepreneur. How are you today, Miss Donna?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
So the only way that I could balance is just making boundaries. Like, if you I work from 8 to 4, exactly at 4, that's when I stopped working. I felt like that was the only way that I could balance being an entrepreneur and being a teacher, which is putting in that balance and placing boundaries. So as soon as I got off of work, I went home and I worked on my business instead.
Okay. And I think a lot of educators maybe struggle with that balance part. Oftentimes, I know when I was in the classroom, especially in the first couple years, I wanted to take work home all the time. I was grading everything, like literally grading everything. And then it came to a point, it was like, hey, listen, your students, you can still assess your students effectively, all right? But you can't be bringing work home every single day, especially if you're going to explore opportunities outside of the classroom. You have to find that appropriate balance. So what is your current position as far as being a teacher? What do you teach? What is your content area?
I currently teach 6th grade math at an all-girls school.
Okay. And then what type of, I know you want to speak about how we actually met. It's like how we actually met, where we were when we met.
Okay, so I actually met Locha at a conference in Atlanta. And the conference was about financial literacy, trucking, event space leasing. And I just went because I wanted to explore being an entrepreneur. Because, I mean, the pandemic just made me feel like, realize how short life is and how valuable your time is. And as far as the pay for being a teacher, it's just not enough. So you got to have multiple streams. Yes, it's all about having multiple streams of income.
So, yeah. And so to that, when we met, I know, I always promote my business. I'm always promoting First Class Educator. It's my love, my passion. And so when I met Ms. Long, we were in line at a photo booth. And, I was asking her, so who did you come here to see as far as speaker wise, or what industry are you interested in? And she was saying, just looking at different options. I came really to hear everybody speak. And so I was like, me too, actually. But I'm an educator and I have my own educational consulting firm. And then she told me that she was a teacher. So, I mean, right then, I always feel like things are divinely aligned. For us to even have an interaction and a conversation for it to lead to us to knowing that we're both educators, but we're still seeking opportunities in entrepreneurship, because you got to have those multiple streams. Being an educator, it's almost like a glass ceiling. We talk about it all the time. It's only so much that you can make as a classroom teacher. You can move into other spaces, such as being a principal, moving up the ladder to superintendent, but at the end of the day, it's still almost like a cap. And so I know a lot of educators, edupreneurs out there are wondering how can they find balance between being an educator and being an entrepreneur. And it's possible. It's possible. So what other things have you explored outside of the classroom as far as entrepreneurship? Is there anything in particular that you've been looking at or that you're getting into?
So as soon as summer started, I got to work. So the reason why I went to the conference was because I was interested in the trucking industry. So after that conference, I came back. I bought a truck last week. I bought a trailer yesterday. So I'm just super excited.
Okay. So you just got busy straight to it.
Yes. I looked at summer was my 2 months to just get everything in line before I went back into the classroom.
Okay. And so do you, as a math teacher, do you ever see yourself intertwining your content with entrepreneurship, or do you ever find a way to get that into your content to your students, like pushing that as far as like being important?
Honestly, I felt like me exploring being an entrepreneur made me a better teacher, because I was able to bring real world ideas into the classroom. Because when you first start teaching, you're so worried about teaching the content. And, being an entrepreneur, I was able to bring that into the classroom and bring what students were interested in. Like, I'm at an all-girls school, so what I did was I made selling eyelashes like a business. So just bringing that in and bringing in what catches their interest, it helped me a lot as far as connecting with the students.
Okay. I mean, always looking for those real world connections as an educator. And so, like you said, your audience, your students, your babies, All girls love, obviously, beauty.
Yes.
Right? Math teachers. So you're teaching them how to multiply their income.
Yes.
You know, teaching them merchandising. All of those type of things go into, you know, being an entrepreneur when you're looking at that side of things. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, just making that connection because it's funny. Like a lot of kids now, they want to be YouTubers. And I'm like, well, think about it. What else do you think they do? Well, they sell product and they create content. I'm like, it all relates. Everything with math, being an entrepreneur, it all comes together and relates to each other.
Okay. So that's pretty cool. I really, I appreciate the fact that you can speak to that and be honest and transparent about what you actually do in your classroom, because I think some educators feel that it has to be separate. That you put on one hat and you take it off and you put on the next one. Actually, you can marry the two. You can merge the two. In my classroom, my students always knew, oh, you know, Miss Brooks, I know, you know, she has real estate. You know, I always tell my students when I'm about to purchase a new property, I tell them the importance of having multiple streams, especially passive income. Like, your money has to make money when you're not there with it, right? And it has to be working when you're not working, when you want to take a break, but you still generating money. And so I would tell them about real estate opportunities and just different things that they could be doing as far as an entrepreneur while, you know, they're still pursuing getting a college degree.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I always love pushing secondary education as well as entrepreneurship. So just giving them a holistic view of what it is like to really be an adult or productive citizen and having multiple streams. Most importantly for educators, I think, you know, we have to come to terms with you can be successful at both. Like,
yes, for sure.
you don't have to choose one over the other, you know?
So I love hearing when students say, oh, I want to be a hairstylist. Or I'm like, okay, I love it. You're an entrepreneur. I love it. You already have it in you. So I'm always pushing it. So yes, I do push college, but I also push, like, you have to just do what you love.
You have to do what you love.
And you can always be successful, whether if you choose a route that requires education or you choose a route that leads you to entrepreneurship, and you can do both because they see that I do both.
See, and I think even you speaking to us and this message getting out to students that you don't have to, you know, feel like you're not being successful if you are pursuing something that does not require a college degree. Getting into real estate does not require a college degree. Getting into HVAC does not require a college degree. Although, trust me, I will be the first person to tell you, I love going to school. I love going to school. I just think that, you know, just showing our students multiple ways of being successful in life, you know, that's inspiring to them. So even when they see us pursuing things outside of the classroom, I love being a teacher. I love teaching. And I love for my students to know that, again, you can be successful in doing more things, more than one thing. And for me, stepping out and following my passion of being an entrepreneur is not just rooted in wanting more money, right? Mine is rooted in my passion. I love teaching and I love teaching teachers. So for me, stepping outside of the classroom, even though I have the real estate, right? I have the educational consulting firm, and I'm able to be more effective and expand my reach by talking to other educators who want to build successful relationships with students. And a part of that is being relatable. You found that your students enjoy, you know, beauty and talking about beauty. So you relate that to math as it applies in the real world. You have to be able, they don't teach you all of this in college, right?
They sure don't.
They don't teach you that.
And I think being a teacher and moving into entrepreneurship, like, I think it roots in just our love for learning, because the learning doesn't stop. You keep learning. So if you want to go into the trucking business, you're going to have to learn from the people that are in it. So it just doesn't stop at college. It's just teaching students to find a love for learning.
A love for learning. What is that word? It's like a word.
It is.
It's a word for when you just a lover of learning, right? And like you said, you can't just hop in the truck.
No.
Like, you have to know the ins and outs
yes,
of it.
You do.
So that is, in a sense, even though you might not go to a traditional school to get the knowledge and education, the conference that we were at, we went and we got knowledge and information. A wonderful conference. The Formula Conference hosted by the Circle of CEOs. That was awesome. that
Yes.
the information
Amazing.
there, it's like, as educators, we've sat through traditional professional developments, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know for me, that was a total experience.
It was, and it was just the community and being around people that love to help each other, want to push each other, because honestly, we rise by lifting others, and that's the only way to be successful. So it's just being in that environment was amazing.
Yes, yes. And what I also thought was cool, I think when I was speaking to you, there was one other person there that was like, when I gave you my card, I had my card, my brochures there for first class educator. And they were like, oh, can I have one of those? Like, my mom's an educator too. It's like when you walking in your purpose and on your path, you're going to find the right people. You'll find yourself in the right rooms. You have to purposely put yourself in a room, but you'll gravitate towards the people you're supposed to have a connection with.
Because I remember that moment when you told me that you were in the education consulting firm, I was just like, I was so excited. I was like, it was just meant for me to meet you there, even though we're both from Dallas and we meet at a conference, not anything related to education, you know, but we met each other, and it's funny how it's such a small world, but.
Yes, and that's also, again, walking in your passion, your true calling. There are educators out there that have side hustles, things that they put off, and you're trying to find balance. It can be done. When you're walking in your purpose, everything aligns. You meet the right people, you find yourselves in the right room, and I'm just so happy that we can even share our experience with you all. So if you could just give anybody a tip, if they are an educator or looking to move forward in their path of entrepreneurship, what would you say to them?
I would just say, don't be afraid to take a risk. And just to put in the work. Honestly, you just have to do it. It's scary jumping from one thing to another. It's scary wondering if you can balance it, but you can do it all. Because I promise you, teachers can do it all. I've seen it in the classroom, in the school. Like, teachers really can do it all. Like,
teachers are resilient.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Educators are resilient.
So don't be scared. Don't be afraid to pursue your dreams, because I feel like most of the teachers I meet, they do want to do more, but I think they're afraid to. So just taking that leap of faith and just going for it, and that's the first step.
That's the first step. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Long, for having the conversation with me today. I wish you much success in the classroom as well as in your other business endeavors.
So
I know that you're going to be successful.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it.
Action.
Hello, guys. Locha Brooks here, guys. I am so happy to be bringing to you guys today Miss Long. She's an educator as well as an entrepreneur. Guys, let's welcome Miss Long. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing totally good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
I
you for
appreciate
having
it.
me here.
Thank you. So we are going to talk to Ms. Long about being an educator, being an entrepreneur, as well as... Okay. Like we got a live audience.
Action.
Hello, guys. Locha Brooks here. Guys, I am super excited today, bringing you another wonderful edupreneur. Today, I have Miss Donna Long here. She's an educator as well as an entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Ms. Long, for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so, okay, we have some questions for you. We want to know, what is it like being an educator, being an entrepreneur? How did you even decide? Like, just tell us how we got here today, as far as you being an educator, as well as seeking, you know, opportunities for entrepreneurship.
I don't even know what to say. Hold on.
So, maybe,
Action.
hey guys, Locha Brooks here. We are here today with Miss Donna Long. Miss Long is a 6th grade math teacher, guys. This is her 3rd year of teaching. And so this discussion today is going to be centered on what it is like being a new teacher, teaching during the middle of a pandemic. So as we prepare for that, guys, let's welcome Miss Donna Long. How are you today, Donna?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Thank you for having me here.
No, thank you for joining. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to even have this conversation. I think that this is a conversation that's long overdue. Like, what was it like being, I know you're going into your third year of teaching, but what was it like teaching during the pandemic and kind of being fresh in the classroom? So first, just give us your background, like your content area, and just a little bit more about who you are.
Okay, I teach 6th grade math at an all-girls school, and I felt like teaching through the pandemic was just like starting over fresh. It felt just like the first year of school, and I'll be honest, it was tough.
Okay.
It was tough, yes.
I think it was tough for everybody, even not just for new teachers, but probably over. Like, this was a historical time during teaching.
So when I teach, I normally just old school, paper, pencil. So just having to switch to all online platforms and being on Zoom, that was very hard. But I believe in just being effective and just trying to get it done and do it for the kids.
So some questions that I have, like, how was it as far as like the directions that you were being given to implement with your students? Were they clear? Were they changing? I know a lot of people that I talked to, it seemed like directives were changing, like consistently changing as far as the expectations.
Yeah, so it went from not being on Zoom every day with the kids and having these rules, but at the same time, I just did what I felt like was best for the students.
And I think that's what you have to do. I like when you just said that, because at the end of the day, you do what's best for the students, right? And so sometimes you don't have clear directions, but you do what is absolutely best for the students and what you know is going to be effective, or at least what you believe is going to be effective. Oh, I just love when you say that. Really. So as far as like support, do you feel that there was a lot of support? I know typically when we're in person, you have, as far as support, I know typically like when you're in person, you have PLC meetings, you get to meet with your teams. Was it still that community support of teachers there, or was it almost like winging it on your own? How was it as far as the support?
You know, I'm very lucky that I have a team that we honestly think of each other as family. So I had one of the teachers on my team was older and she wasn't as proficient with technology. So we met every day on Zoom to help walk her through. So I was just very lucky. So if you're teaching, it's super important to just have a team that you love and you love to work with. And
being a team player, like that's because we do know, I think statistics, data is showing that you have some older teachers that are retiring because it was such a stressful time with the technology. So for you all to even step up to assist, like that is teamwork, that's unity, and you have to have that. You have to have that, whether it's a pandemic or just a typical school year. Being there and supporting your team through it is definitely key. What do you say was probably the hardest part about teaching during the pandemic? What were your challenges?
The hardest part for teaching was when we came back into the classroom and I had half my students learning from home and half my students learning in the classroom. So just finding that balance was really hard because I felt like teaching on Zoom, it was just missing a connection. Like honestly, the students just weren't understanding it and I mean, they're on Zoom for 8 hours a day, so it's completely understandable. And then, so I would like teach on Zoom and then I would go up and teach in the classroom because they understood better like that. And I think the hardest part was just feeling guilty. I felt so guilty when I would give attention to students in the classroom and not at home. So it was just the guilt. I feel like that was the hardest part.
Oh man, like the guilt of having to balance the in-person and Zoom learning, the distant learning.
Yes, just going up on, to the whiteboard and teaching. And I just felt horrible. Like, oh, I feel like, what if they feel like I don't love them as much? So yes, I think.
And so did you all had the camera on the entire time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then seeing the students. So to be able to teach home kids and in the classroom. So really everybody in the classroom is just on Zoom. They're in their seat and they're on Zoom at the same time. And so you feel bad about that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's like you're in school, but then really you're learning just like the kids at home.
Okay. I know that could be quite a bit of a challenge. And just being honest, did you ever take any online classes like in undergrad, or did you ever have to take any online classes?
No, I didn't. No.
Because I can imagine, I took online classes, but to sit in front of a computer as a child, right, for 8 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, that seems like quite a bit of a challenge as far as attention span, as far as even, you know, understanding the concepts, because you check in and check out, you have other distractions and things like that. And so you even said you felt a little guilty.
Yes.
I can understand.
Yes.
Because you know, at the end of the day, and I like both modalities, having the option to be in person, having the option to do virtual. But at the end of the day, I want my babies in the classroom if I'm in the classroom.
Yes. I'm always on Zoom like, can you just ask your parents if you can come into the classroom? I really want you here.
Right. And even for me, having the ability and luxury of working from home or, you know, kind of setting my own schedule, my son really wanted to go in person, and that was a tough decision for me. I ultimately let him go in person, but it was towards the end of the school year. And that was simply because his grades, you know, typically in person, his grades are awesome. But I noticed, like, being at home, doing the distant learning, and even the social piece, right? His grades were suffering. So when he went back in the classroom, it was a total, like, 360 as far as the direction of his grades, just his overall happiness and everything. So I know that in person makes a difference. Now,
really
how did you feel? And I don't know if they're still going to get an option for kids to do distant learning, but as far as like the cameras, like with them having the cameras on or off, was that ever like an issue to you, or how did you feel about like the cameras on Zoom as far as engagement?
I think it just depends on the teacher. I prefer the cameras on because I wanted to see their faces and get to know them. It's hard to really make that connection with the student and build that relationship if their camera's off and you don't really know what they look like. But I mean, sometimes you just have to take a break, like, hey, let me see your dog or your hamster or whatever.
Yes. So yeah, I know the cameras was kind of like a large topic, and people saying they wanted the cameras on, and you know, kids would get in trouble if they didn't have the cameras on. But also, I think being on both ends of it is knowing, again, you know, with the relationships, knowing your students, knowing, you know, if they have, you know, a home environment that they don't want to broadcast on camera, respecting their privacy, right? But then also knowing, making sure that they engage. So having them check in the comments and things like that. So just different little tactics to make sure that they are still engaged. So
yes, and it's just being flexible too, because some students work better with their cameras off, and then some are better with it on, you know, because they need for you to see them to keep them focused, and other ones are just, they're able to work with the camera off, stay, and to keep communicating with me through the chat. So it just depends on the student.
Right. Okay, so as we head into the next school year, this will be your third year teaching.
It'll be my fourth.
Your fourth year of teaching. What do you think, like, teachers will need as a support, like, transitioning back into this full year? What supports do you think that they'll need, maybe from the school, administration, the district? What type of support do you think they'll need?
I just feel like teachers just still want the support, such as still being provided PPP and just trying to keep us safe, because I feel like that's a main concern for a lot of teachers, even though, yes, in Texas, we're going back to normal, but everybody's not comfortable with that. So just keeping the supplies that we need to stay safe, keep our classrooms clean, I think that would be the best support we could get.
Okay, I like that. Because I think oftentimes people think like, oh, you know, teachers are fine, they happy, they just want to see the students. But at the same time, we got to make sure that the teachers are safe. So providing them with the necessary materials to make sure they're safe. Yes. As far as social distancing, have you heard any directives of how that'll look like? Will it look like the end of the school year last year with seating arrangements or anything like that? Do we know what that's like?
No, we don't.
Okay,
no.
okay. So some uncharted territory, some things to prepare for.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, Ms. Long, I truly appreciate you for talking with us today about your experience. Again, like I said, I think the conversation is long overdue of what it was like to teach during a pandemic, how, teachers felt, or some teachers, okay, because everybody has their own opinion, their own experience. So we appreciate you for coming today and talking to us about that experience.
No, thank you so much for having me.
All right.